Hello and welcome to this Big Clipper video. Now this video is about a TCU challenge where the prompt was the Lost Kingdom. And I decided to make something which will be made use of on my model railway, which will be on a different channel, which you can find. There is a link in the description below. There's no videos on it as I record this, but it is coming, I promise. I am making good progress on it. Anyway, that's totally not part of the subject of this video. This is the build video for the prompt, as I say, the Lost Kingdom, and it involves dinosaurs and 3D printing, and it's really cool. So I really hope you enjoy this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I do reply to every single one of them, so don't be shy, and I will see you again at the end. Well, it's time for a new project, and this is the next TCU challenge. The theme is Lost Kingdom, yeah, I mean, it's a really cool theme, obviously. I had the immediate idea to do something for the model railway, which is getting closer to starting, and to do something around dinosaurs, because what does the Lost Kingdom bring to my mind but dinosaurs? So I backed a Kickstarter quite a while ago from a company called 3DIP, and it's all dinosaurs, and I've started printing out the dinosaurs, and then I've realised that they are not scaled correctly. So I'm not going to throw them away. I'll probably paint them up and give them to Rosie to play with, because they're pretty cool. But this evening I've spent a couple of hours just going through rescaling a bunch of the dinosaurs, and they're now back on the printer and printing away. So yeah, here's another one that's just probably about needs to be about 60% of that size to fit into the scale of an HO scale diorama. But what I am going to do is build it on this base, which is one of the things that I took out of the roof, the attic, the old storage unit, which didn't work very well, but this is going to work really well as a good size for a dinosaur park, and that's what it's going to be. So I will have various displays of dinosaurs, and I'll have paths going around and trees on it and a little bit of 3D, and then when this is done, it can be put onto the layout as part of as a vignette. Now, what I might do as part of this build is leave a little bit of a path where I'll be able to run the tracks through. The alternative I've got is potentially leave a bit of a gap, which I can then fill in when I place it on the layout, which will have a platform, or I might even, if I get time, do the platform now, because that would be really cool. Welcome to the Lost Kingdom and what have you, and have people able to come in and walk around in it, my little train people. So anyway, that's the plan. Once I've finished printing all the dinosaurs that are going to be on it, then I'll be able to actually start working on it, and I'm hoping that maybe in the next day or two they will all be printed. I've got one print going now, which is going to take 10 hours. That's the Brontosaurus, obviously the biggest one. So once I've got everything, then I'll set them on here, we'll draw around it, we'll work out where things will go, and then we can start to actually build up the scene. But I'm very excited about this. It's just another thing that can go on the model railway, and also it's a really cool scene to build anyway. So yeah, I'll bring you along, show you how I do it. Well, I've been printing out dinosaurs, and this one is going to be a baby Brontosaurus. And you can see there's a little bit of filling that's needed to be done on the middle of this. So I'm just going to make use of some milliput to do that. I will just get that filled. I've got a bunch more. I've got the daddy or mummy, whatever, the adult, that's just finishing printing right now. Just finished printing. And I've got a bunch of other ones as well. I'm probably nearly finished. I think I've got one more plate to do. I did find that I printed them all out at the wrong scale, so a bunch of them that I printed were just way too big or way too small either way, and so yeah, this is the size it comes without scaling, and it's about 50% too small. So I've had to reprint a lot of them, but at least they're going to look nice, and that'll be quite a nice little thing. I'm also going to, it's just exactly obviously the same sculpt that I've just scaled up, so I'm going to, for the adult one, I'm going to cut and position the head in a slightly different position, and the tail and what have you, and just, yeah, so that would be a bit of fun, make it a little bit more more varied. So I'm just going to fill that with milliput, and then I'm going to start priming them pretty much straight away as well. As they come off of the curing and they finish this step, I'll prime them straight away with my grey primer, and then I can start painting them, which is cool. Well, I've pretty much got every dinosaur that I want for this printed out now. So next step is going to be basically starting to working like I've done on this one, but doing it for all of them. So I'm going to get my green stuff or milliput or whatever, fill in all these gaps, prime them all, and then paint them. And I'll probably do a little bit of a talking about how I'm going to paint them when I get to it. But the one that I'm going to do on camera, mostly for the assembly, is going to be this one, where I really want to, like I've said, I want to adjust the position of the head and the position of the tail. So when I come to do that, I'll bring you along, but for the most part it's just going to be a couple of gap fills, not very many because most of them printed out at once, and then a load of priming and then painting, and then we can get on with the we can get to positioning them and that. So I think the next thing I'm going to start is designing the station. So I'll get my sketch pad out once I've done that and got that to looking how I want it to. I'll show you how I'm going to assemble it. So yeah, we're about midway through November now. I've had a bit of a crazily busy time, and I'm a bit behind where I wanted to be on this, but still got a month or so to go, so hopefully I can get it done in time. So I certainly should have done this by asking someone to help me with the 3D and extend the tail out, because this is going to not be very easy, but I'm going to give it a go anyway. So I'm not going to film all of it because it's probably going to take quite a long time, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this tail into sections and then glue it back together, and then fill in the gaps with my milliput. So I've got my razor saw here, and I'm going to cut it roughly here first of all, because I really want it to be going straight back. I want to give a good idea of the length of this dinosaur. And it's just going to be a lot of this. So once I've got this cut into sections and I'm about to reassemble, I will then bring you back, because this is just going to be a bit tedious. Also, I need to put my mask on, because when you're cutting, you should be wearing a mask. So I started cutting up the tail, and lots and lots of resin inside. I'd obviously not drained it very well with my drain holes, and again, as I've been cutting up the neck, which is now done, you can just see how wet the saw is, and there is resin coming out. So not so much on that one, so I did a better job of doing the drain holes, but still, that just does go to show when I'm doing these hollow prints, this is why some of them fail, because over time, because if you leave that in there, it will rot from the inside out and collapse. So just to show you that. So what I'm going to do now is put that in some boiling hot water with soap, rinse it out, let it dry completely. So I am not going to be able to assemble it now, but I'm happy with how it's going to go. You can see that is going to go to the body. I'm going to have to do a fair bit of filling there, a fair bit of filling there, but then no filling on that bit. So yeah, pretty happy with how that's going to look. And the tail I will continue cutting up very shortly. It's pretty much got all of the resin coming out of it now. I'm just let me just pull the camera over and show you actually. So that there is boiling hot water, and you can see soap in it as well, and I'm basically filling it up with water and then emptying it out like that to try to clear out the insides, because yeah, I don't want any resin in there really. It's a pain that. It probably means it's not very well cured either on the insides. Hopefully this won't collapse on me. But there was a lot of resin coming out of this when I initially cut it, so it's a lot better than it was. You actually couldn't even see the reinforcement on the inside really when I started to clean this up. So yeah, you live and learn, and I'm glad that I decided to adjust this, because I would never have known, and then it probably would have disintegrated over the next year or two, and that would have been really sad. So there we are, but I do need to still do some chopping. As you can see, I've still got way too much of a tail on that. That'll be basically the same job, same idea. I'll do cut here, cut here, cut here, and then it'll be fine. So anyway, I'll bring you back when I come to reassembly. I'll just come back to have a look at this. These are all now nicely dried, and this has worked out really nicely. So this was how the neck was, curling around like that, and I've cut it, and what I've realised is if I cut it and just rotate every piece like that, I end up with a pretty good shape for the neck. So let me just make sure that I'm not barking up the wrong tree. And what I think I might start to do, so that like that curves it down, as you can see. That curves it down some more, and then that like that. So as you can see, by just doing those simple cuts, I'm glad I wasn't going mad, because I was looking at it. I might still want to kind of I might want to rotate that a little bit actually. Yeah, let's do that. That's better. So if I do it like that, does that look a little bit unnatural maybe? A little bit too much of an S bend in a neck? I'm not sure how flexible the necks were. This is quite difficult. Right, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to glue that on there, because yeah, I know I need to glue that on there like that. Just starting to change it around. You can see that's the way it should be. Sorry, that's the way it should be, and that's the way I'm going to do it. So I'm going to glue that on there, let that dry, and then what I'll do is I'll build up each section of neck one at a time, glue it in place, make sure it looks nice. I might need to put some grabby glue in like this to fill some gaps. That won't be what I'll use to hold it, it'll just be there to like do it temporarily, because I will do some milliput, and then once I've got all of the neck built, I'll show you how it looks. But I think that's probably how I'm going to do it, just rotate each bit. I may need to cut the neck once more, or I may need to have a little bit more of a kind of like of a gap that needs to be filled, just to make it not quite so S-shaped. But yeah, I think I need to glue this to here so that I'm not juggling 5 pieces, and then move on from there. So I'll bring you back when I get to the next step. So it's time to start filling. And you can see that I've finished doing the adjustments for that, which I'm very pleased about. I'm going to make use of milliput, and each of these has some filling to be done. Now, some of this I'll just use the Mr. Putty, because yeah, and you can see that I actually primed this already without really doing a very good job of filling, so I'm going to fill that again. Some of these are bigger, so I will use a milliput, and then I'll come along with the Mr. Putty afterwards just to finish off. But you can see that we've got drain holes in there. We've got drain holes in there, which is just crazy. I have no idea why I put drain holes in that one. Drain holes in there, and drain holes in there. So yeah, so I'm just going to fill these, sand them down, use the Mr. Putty, and then prime them. And I'll bring you back next time will be when I start to paint all of them, because I've got these and also quite a lot over there that don't need filling. So I'm just going to get the filling done and then start priming. So let's crack on with this. Right, well, so as you can see, I've started to kind of like lay things out. I'm not sure I'm going to use these. I had the idea of putting these, of having these were part of a misprint, and I was going to put trees in them, so I might do that as planters. But anyway, so yeah, I've started to mock things out. Got the potential position for the track here, thinking about the station to go along here, and then you go through, and this is going to be like the gate. So the gate would be the 2 Brontosauruses. I think they're Brontosauruses, and you walk in through them, and then the fence would kind of like go around like this, and then at the back we'll have various kind of paths leading you around these dinosaurs. So we have like this is the Parasaurolophus, Angela's favourite, will be coming out of a little lake. We have again Mosasaurus, I think. Yeah, which is a fish, so that would also be next to the lake. So we'd have a little lake here with that, and then we've got the Oviraptor, which is teeny tiny Oviraptor. Can't even really see it. Lighting's really bad. I've got the lights on, but the lighting's really bad today. So that's an Oviraptor, which will be like running around, and that's the idea there, is just to give the range of scale of these dinosaurs. And we have various other ones, including steg and triceratops, some birds, T-Rex, a bunch of the raptors over this way. So you go from like the herbivores and some like more river or lake, and then round through to the carnivores. And that's the plan. So you can see I'm not necessarily going to make use of the whole of this base, and that makes me think that I might actually do this completely not on this base, but this has been really useful just to give you an idea of scale. So yeah, I have also just ordered a cricket cutter. I think I mentioned in a previous clip that I was going to. I have ordered it. It is on its way. Whether that arrives in time or not, I don't know. But I'm going to hold off on doing the station until that arrives. So that station might actually not get onto this build before the end of the year. However, relatively happy with how the filling's gone. There's a few little bad bits I might need to do a little bit more. I primed it anyway so I could see what it looked like. So maybe a little bit more filling to be done on this. Or I might just turn that round and have the entrance like that, so you go in underneath. That looks quite nice, doesn't it? Not sure. So I might need to do a little bit more filling, but I'm going to start doing some doing the painting of these. I'm currently researching heavily as to what colours they should be, get them painted up, and then I can lay out the park. Now the only other thing to say is I'm going to be putting little like plaques next to each of the dinosaurs, talking about them. But what I've decided to do is I'm actually going to print them out in full size as well. So this is going to be on the layout, and I will have all of the information on the dinosaurs in a little pack that will be next to this area in my layout. So I'm pretty happy with that little idea. But yeah, happy with how it's going on. It's coming towards the end of November now, so we've got about a month to go. So I'm better get cracking on the painting. The terrain, as always, will not take me very long. This is a very simple thing. It's going to have a basic. I'm probably not even going to use much modelling compound. I'll just lay down my texture and then pick out the paths and then flock, put some trees in, and it should be done. So it won't take very long to do that. But anyway, that's a long talky section explaining my current thoughts. Happy with how it's coming along. Excited to get them all painted. So going to go and do that now. Well, this project continues to go along slowly but steadily. So I've got some of the dinosaurs down on the painting bench now, and I've finished these first 4, as you can see, which I'm pretty pleased with. Particularly pleased with Triceratops, with the nice purple kind of like pattern on the back. I also received the little kids that are going to be going around the park. 6 kids, 4 on skateboards and 2 on roller skates, but I didn't realise that they were actually unpainted. So they arrived a little while ago, and I need to get them done. So it's going slowly. I really do need to get my skates on, because this won't be done by Christmas if I don't. So I'm going to have to really try and get this very nearly finished this week, I think, this coming week. At least start to work on the baseboard. One of the reasons why I've not started is I'm still unsure as to whether I'm actually going to use this or whether I'm going to build it on top of something else. So I really need to make that decision and get cracking. And then, as you can see, most of the dinosaurs that are left are the tiny ones, so they shouldn't take too long to paint. But yeah, so pleased that I've got some paint down. As I say, I've got about 6 or 7 down on the painting bench now, which I'm going to get painted today. I'll get started painting today, and then I can finish the final ones during the week. But yeah, it's a motivational struggle for me at the moment, just to want to do things, and it's too easy just to sit and stare at it and walk away. So let's see how much I can get done in the coming week, and hopefully then we'll see whether we're going to actually hit the target or not. So I've decided to pivot away from some of this build, and I'll explain why. And I'm going to put the dinosaur park onto this sheet of blue foam. Now the 2 main reasons for me doing that, the first one is I haven't yet fully designed the layout. So to come along and start to put model railway, tracks and a station on this would really preempt that bit too much and might back me into a corner, which I don't really want to get into. The second thing is about the station specifically. I do have my cricket coming, but I want to learn how to use that, and I want to make use of that to make this. So I'm probably going to receive that in time for me to do a good job, and I want to do a good job on it. So basically, I'm going to make the park and do it so that it can get dropped onto the layout when I know where it's going to go. Very similar to how I did that bridge with the B52 going over it. I will basically just do the park and then drop it in place when I get to it. So I've been making a lot of progress on the painting, as you can see. I've also got all the velociraptors painted. There's several more down on my painting bench, which I'm going to go and do after I finish shooting this little clip and talking it through. So yeah, that's the plan. So my first thing I'm going to do is work out roughly where my dinosaurs are going to go, and you can see that I'm still going with the idea of having the two Brontosauri being the entrance. So what I'll then be able to do is basically start to draw out what I want with my paths. So you'll be walking, the path will come in through underneath these Brontosauri, and then potentially over here we'll have this is going to be, let's write that down. So Bront and Bront. And once I've got this done, I'm going to be able to start to actually cut out, shape and put the base material down, which obviously is a very important thing to do. So what I'm going to do here is have a lake over here, not a very big one, a lake, and have the Parasaurolophus coming up out of the lake. So what that means is I'm going to need to have, the path is going to have to go over in this direction. What I probably will do is on this way I'll have the Triceratops and the Stegosaurus here. So maybe what I'll do is I'll have the path kind of come here, do this, do that. What I want to do is have it so that the path is like an adventure trail that kids or families can walk along to see different things. And this is also probably going to end up it being a slightly smaller area, which is also good. So what we'll then do is we'll then have the flying creature maybe here, so the pterodactyl here and here, and the path could even go underneath them maybe, like that. And then we'll come to Carnosaur corner, so we'll get the Carnosaur, which is downstairs, and then we'll come in here. I'll have a tree, have some bushes and trees and what have you. This is good. This is really starting to come together now. I like doing this on camera. And then we can have the velociraptors, because I've got lots of velocirapti. Let me just grab them over. They're teeny tiny compared to the rest of the dinosaurs. So they're my velociraptors, and T-Rex. And what we could even do is bring the path like this. So T-Rex is here. Then we'll have the Oviraptor. Actually, Oviraptor is going to go over here because they were also relatively lakey, I believe. So Ovi, and they are also tiny. I am tired. They are tiny. So this is going to be Steg. This is going to be Tops. That's what Rosie calls them. Steg and Tops. Actually, she calls them exactly correctly. Triceratops and Stegosaurus. She's very bright. So here we can have, I'm not sure what the name is actually. There's another one that I've got downstairs and I can't remember what it's called, but that will work nicely there. And then that can basically feed back into the path. So what that gives me is a rough scale. So I can see that if I kind of cut around here, I might want to do it square to make it a bit easier for me to drop it into place, but I'll be bedding it in with the modelling compound anyway, so that's not the worst thing in the world. So that gives me the rough shape and size of this piece. So what I've got to do now is I'll cut this out, and I will probably do a basic modelling compound. I'll get the cutter and do the lake down a little bit, some basic modelling compound, and then smooth the path in while I'm doing it, and then I'll be able to glue down these dinosaurs and start doing the flocking. So that was a much longer clip than I expected, but I did not expect to get as far as this. So all win. I'll bring you along very shortly when I've cut this out and when I'm about to start working on the dip for the lake and then the rest of the scenery. So it's not going to take very long now. I'm umming and ahhing about modelling compound, but first of all I will definitely come and cut the lake. So I'll just get that. I'll take a picture of this so I've got the layout, and then I'll bring you back when I'm about to start doing that. Alright, so that's cut out. Didn't take very long, and I've snapped a picture so I can remember where the things are going to go, and I've got a little bit of space over here for the dinosaurs I can't remember the names of. What I'm going to do is very carefully try to carve this little lake out. Now it doesn't need to go that deep because I can use paint to give an impression of depth, but I do want it to have a little bit of a shoreline around it. So doing this is worthwhile. So I'm not sure how much I'm going to talk, whether I might put some music on, I think, while I do this. So I think this is going to take a little bit of time. But yeah, we're going to carve out this little basin for my water dinosaurs. Right then, there we are. That was good. So now we've got a little bit of a depressed area, and that can be turned into a little pond. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time now thinking about how I might end up doing the base, whether I'm going to do modelling compound or not. But I'm going to just let that settle in my mind. I need to go to the paint bench and paint some more of the dinosaurs, get them all done. So I've got to go and do that now. And I will bring you back when I get to the next step, which hopefully will involve showing you some more of the painted dinosaurs as well. Alright, so I've decided that I'm going to go for a thin skim of the modelling compound, as you can see here. So I don't know how long this is going to take, and I'm obviously not going to film it all because it would just be a lot of me doing this, but I just thought I'd show you how I'm planning on doing this and how I'm planning on doing the path. So what I'm going to do is apply the thin skim of modelling compound all around where the path isn't initially. Smooth it all out. I can have some little undulations in it, and then I'll be able to plant trees and bushes and do all of the other fun stuff. And then once this is dried, I will then come over with not with the sand mix because of the scale. I'll probably do it with the dust and tile grout, and then I'll cover the entirety of the base with that, and that will mean that where the paths are, which I'm making them a little bit wide at the moment, but I will fill in those gaps a little bit more now because I can push it around. This is one of the ways of doing this thin, is to apply it thick and then just push it around like so. But yeah, when I apply my texture, the whole thing will look the same, but the paths will just be very slightly sunken, which is what I want to have. So yeah, lots and lots of this and a little bit of patience. So I'll get this done. Once the modelling compound is a little bit drier, what we'll do is I'll wet my hands. Sorry, it's a bit noisy. It's vibrating a lot. I'll wet my hands and I'll come along and I will smooth it out as well, so it's a completely smooth surface, because I don't want it to be too lumpy and bumpy. I don't mind having little undulations or changes in how high, in elevation, but I really don't want to have. Sorry, Xena is growling. Shush, Xena. Xena is growling. She's on my sofa looking up at the workmen on the roof terrace and is growling because she can see them moving around. Now yeah, so I'll smooth it all out so it's not got any fingerprints or whatever in it. So yeah, listen to that dog. You wouldn't believe how tiny she is. She's bigger than she was. Come on camera, you noisy little thing. Here we are. Sat on the sofa, growling. Can't really see her. There's our Zizi. There we are. Anyway, enough of that. I'm going to finish this off. I'll bring you back when I get to the next step. Well, I'm pretty happy with how that worked out, as you can see. I've got all of the modelling compound on this base, and I've left the paths. Some places it goes a bit high, which I don't mind. Most of it's very low, just a couple of millimetres above the blue foam. So what we're going to do now is I've got some of my mix of grout, sand and PVA, which actually was an old mix that I used for another project that I stuck in the fridge. And you can see it's been a couple of days in the fridge. You can see it's still very, very usable. So that's a really good way of not wasting material. And I knew when I mixed slightly too much for the previous project that I was going to be able to use it on this. So that's what I'm going to do now. It's going to give a little bit of texture because there's a bit of dust in it, but it will also cover over the whole thing as a nice black base coat. So it kind of does two things at once. So I'll get this all painted on over the top. I will almost certainly need to mix some more up, but at least I won't waste what I made the other day. And then when that's dried, which won't take very long, we'll work on the next step. I do still have some dinosaur painting to do actually, so I'm not completely ready to even start dressing this with the dinosaurs. So yes, I'll probably work on painting and flocking and what have you. And in that time I'm going to have to get all of the other dinosaurs finished painting, but I don't know when that will be. I'm not painting at the painting desk as much as I want to do this week because I've been focused on getting my dad's plane done, honestly, which is also a cool thing to do, but I do need to get these dinosaurs done so I can finish this in time. Some people have already completed their entries, which is really cool. Anyway, enough rambling. I'll get this done. I'll bring you back for the next step when I get to it. Well, that worked really well. As you can see, I've got a really nice texture going over all of this. You can clearly see where the paths are. Here, going round. Oh, and there's another path there which I've covered over a bit, but that's where the path goes. It's very easy to see. So what I'm going to do now is I've got my brown paint, and I'm going to use this normal brown paint. I'm just going to come over and I'm going to dry brush over this just to give a little bit more colour. I'm not going to paint too much on. It's not actually a traditional dry brush because there isn't really enough texture to do a traditional dry brush, but the point is I don't want to go too deep and cover over all of the nice deep black depth that I've built up. And this, fun enough, is going to start to inform what this part of the model railway is going to look like. So it's actually a bit of a decision to go with this brown, but I think I will. So this will basically bring out all of the textures and also give a nice undercoat that I can put my grass and flock and trees and tufts and what have you over the top of. So yeah, get that done. Won't take long, as you can see. And then I really am going to be stuck until I've got the dinosaurs in, because I want to at least be able to position. This brush is losing its bristles a bit, but yeah, at least I want to be able to position the dinosaurs and everything I'm going to have on before I start to work out exactly where I'm going to have the trees and where I'm going to have the grass. And I've nearly finished that. That got a bit hard, but never mind. Could be a muddy patch there, that's fine. There we are. What I'll probably do for the paths is put some more texture down and paint them white, or maybe make them look like white sand, and that's what you're basically covering around, going round on. But I'll do that later. For now, I'm happy with that stage. If I can get rid of these bristles that it's dropped. Yeah, for now I'm happy with that stage. I will now focus on getting the dinosaurs finished. Let's grab a couple so you can see how they look. And once the dinosaurs are all finished, there we are. Once the dinosaurs are all finished, then I will be able to, like that, there we are. Then I'll be able to do the fence or whatever I'm going to do, and do the grass and what have you, and it'll all look really, really cool. So there we are, pretty happy with how that's looking. I'll bring you back when I get to the next step. So I've started to work on the little figures that are going to be going around the dinosaur park. This is from Langley Models, as you can see, and these are some kids on skateboards and roller skates, which I thought would be quite cool. I've got loads and loads of other figures, but these ones are unpainted, I didn't realise, so I'm now going to prime them and I'll paint them tonight hopefully, and that'll be that done. But I just super glued them to these tongue depressors. It gives me an easy way to hold them, and is perfectly stable enough for the painting process. So that's a cool little tip if you've not come across that before. Tongue depressors are a really good way of making very cheap painting handles. So yeah, I'm going to get those painted up now, and I will show you what they look like when they're going onto the piece probably. Right, and now I'm going to paint the lake. So I'm going to do that pretty simply using green and blue. Get myself a bit of water as well. Using green and blue just to kind of wet blend in to make it look a little bit deeper in the middle and a little bit shallower on the edges, which is something I've done over and over. So yes, I really enjoy this process. So what I'm going to do first, find the edges, paint the whole thing around green, and then I will build up with blue in the middle. Nice and simple. And I've just come right over the edge there, but never mind, I'll cover that up in a minute with some more brown, because the lake actually does this, doesn't it? There we are. So now with a little bit of blue, you can kind of start blending in. And of course water isn't blue, really, but deeper water is. It does have that kind of, that look to it that you can see here. So yeah, it's a really, really quick process. And we have ourselves a little lake. There we are. Let's blend that in a bit better. Very cool. Right, so I'll let that dry, and then I'm going to use some clear, I'm not going to use water effects, I'm going to use some clear silicone over the top of that, and that will be my lake. So yeah, a bit annoyed that I went over there. It's quite hard to see exactly where the edge of the lake is now that I've painted it all brown, but never mind. So what I've realised I need to do before I apply anything to the lake is to do the static grass work, because that will stick to the lake. Whatever I do, it will be annoying to me and look messy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my classic batch number 1, which I'm very proud of having, from War World Scenics static grass applicator, and tangle it up in my cable for my microphone. And I'm just going to work along this and basically put a simple single covering of the spring 2mm static grass from Luke on over the whole of this. So I'm not going to film all of it because it's going to be pretty much the same, but I'll film the first section and then I'll just work through the rest. So I don't want to put any at all on the paths, because I'm going to do those as gravel paths, potentially something like that anyway. So what I do is I use the official glue for this because it's the best stuff I've found. Just spread it around. Now where the dinosaurs are actually going to stand, I've been umming and ahhing about this a bit, as I do, and I've decided that what I'll actually do is just scrape this off. So I'm going to cover it over all of it. Then if I decide that I want to remove some, I can, but because I'm not quite yet ready for setting the dinosaurs in place, I don't want to make a decision now that I regret and not put enough grass in. So here we have the first section of that I want to do, like that. Let's get all the glue off the brush. So the static grass applicator is superb. I really like this, and I highly recommend, if you're looking at getting into doing static grass, I really do recommend the WW Scenic stuff. And Luke's static grass is also very, very good. So yeah, we'll pop the static grass into the hopper and then try not to tangle myself in my cable again. I have a little sewing pin I put into the clamp to make it a bit easier for me to get a connection for the circuit. So that's how I do that. And then what we do is you hold that in place and shake it over the top, and what you'll see is as you get the applicator near, it will stand them up nicely because it's a good bit of kit. And there we are, simple as that. And then, as is often the case, what you then want to do is shake the excess off, put it back in your pot and keep going. So it really is as simple as that. So I'm going to crack on with that, cover the whole thing with the grass, and then we'll be pretty much ready to place the dinosaurs, which are very nearly done. I actually have decided last minute to print 2 more, so I realised I don't have a T-Rex and I don't have an Ankylosaurus, and I really do need to have both of those. So they're going to be printing. I'm just warming the little kind of like tent I've got for my printer up right now, so they're going to be printing today. Hopefully they'll work. So yeah, that's why I'm not ready for the whole thing yet. But I'll get the rest of this done with the grass. I might put some little reeds, use some taller grass, or maybe make some reeds. If I do that, I'll bring you along around the edge of the pond, and then we can put the water effect on the pond. But yeah, nice simple technique, and it's going to end up looking really good. So I've managed to get these to print, and they printed out okay. Very, very slight problem with the T-Rex, but not so as anyone would notice. And I'm really pleased to get the Ankylosaurus, because yeah, we love the Ankylosaurus in this household. So I can get these primed up and painted, and then that will be all of the dinosaurs that are going to be going on to into the dinosaur park. So yeah, get these primed up now and painted as much as I can. I actually go away for a few days from tomorrow, so this is the last chance I'll have to work on this for a little bit. But yeah, just pleased that I did finally get these printed. They printed out yesterday, dried overnight, and I've just cured them in the curing machine. And yeah, they've come out nicely. They're really nice dinosaurs, really, really nice. So yeah, if you were looking for dinosaurs and you've got a printer, you couldn't go far wrong with getting this pack, which I think is on my mini factory. I'm not sure, but I think. So what I need to do now, this is basically all dried, but there is some still a bit loose. A lot of it's stuck. It's stuck pretty well, actually, funny enough. Is I've got my little hand hoover here. It's going to make a real load of noise, so I won't film it. But basically, we're just going to hoover over the whole of this and get this so there's nothing left. The other way you could do this, I suppose, if you don't have a hand hoover, is turn it over and give it a good bash like that, and you'll see just how much has fallen off that. It's quite a lot. It looks quite a lot, but it hasn't actually affected how the coverage is on here. So yeah, so I might actually try and save that. I have just swept up this bench, and then what I'll probably do is just run the vac over to get the last of it off. But that's quite a lot to waste, isn't it? So yeah, I'm glad I did that a slightly different way than just hoovering it. What a lot of people do, you'll see people like Luke Tower, and they put a pair of stockings or tights, whatever you want to call them, over the end of their hoover, and that allows them to vac it off and also to collect what's actually removed. But I don't have any tights because yeah, it's not something we have about here, so I can't do that, unfortunately. So there we are. So I'll put that in the pot. That's a much better solution, and continue. I just want to make sure that there's not going to be any of this static grass kind of falling off accidentally. You want to, because it does get absolutely everywhere. But yeah, that's a lot that's come off there. That's superb. Good. Right, onwards. Next step after this is going to be to mark out where the dinosaurs are going to go. So I'll bring you back when I get to that, which won't be very long now. And yeah, we need to crack on with this. I'm back from my break, and I need to finish this obviously by the end of the year. So yeah, we shall see how the rest of this build goes. Let's get on with it. Well, I've just kind of roughly mocked out where I want everything to go, and I'm actually really pleased with how that's looking. So you've got the entrance here, and then with the two Diplodocuses, or Diplodocus, or however you want to pronounce it. Then we're going to have T-Rex right at the entrance. They don't stand up very well, so they're definitely going to be glued in. And then here we've got the the name's gone from me, but the famous ones, the little ones. And then we've got Parasaurolophus and the boat and the water. And then I'm going to have the big bird probably sitting on something, maybe get a stick and sitting on there so that you'll be walking underneath the birds at the back. And then we've got whatever that one's called, I'm forgetting the names, I've got them written down but I haven't got them in front of me. And then Ankylosaurus, and then some more of the carnivores here, and then of course we've got Triceratops and Stegosaurus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the process of sticking these in place, gluing them down. It's going to take a little while because I'm going to need to make sure that they actually stick in the place I want. For example, you can see here I want to have the front foot up, so we're actually going to need to kind of wedge it in place. But I'll go around and stick these in. I'm going to glue the Mosasaurus into the water area and then do the water effects afterwards. And the only other thing to say is that when these are standing up, there are going to be gaps between them, and I'll put trees and other bits and pieces in there just to make it a bit more interesting. Put some bushes and what have you in there. But that basically is what it's going to look like, and I'm really pleased with that. I'm really looking forward to getting this on the layout when I get to that stage. But just the fact that it's looking so cool is really fun for me. So I'm going to glue it down using PVA. So I've got myself some PVA here, and this is obviously not going to be massively secure. However, it's going to be plenty secure enough for something which goes on a model railway and doesn't get touched. So Rosie will have to be informed that she is only allowed to bop these and not allowed to actually touch them. So I'm going to need to support that. So what I'll do is I'll grab myself one of my little uprights, and that will allow me to leave that one in place. So I'll let that dry, and I'll do the same with this, which is the baby. I'm very pleased with how my little how well these have come out, with the fact that that is actually the same kit as that, and I just kind of hacked it up with a hacksaw. So anyway, so I'm going to get on with that. I'll get them all glued in place, just like I've said. Once I've done that, and I'm starting to do the more advanced stuff, like putting the water in here and doing the trees, I'll bring you back when I get to that stage. But I'm just going to work through this. I might put the camera on and put some music on while I'm doing it a bit later. But yeah, I'm just going to get all these situated. I'll bring you back when I get to the next step. But yeah, this is coming to the end now, which is really cool. I also am going to do a little banner which I might hang between the two necks, which will just say "Welcome to the Lost World." So I'll show you how I do that as well. All the dinosaurs are glued in, and I have also got all of my little figures I've finished painting up. So these are just the people on skateboards and roller skates. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stick them in place going along the path. So there we are. Not going to take very long to do this. There's only 6, I think, of them, but I'm quite pleased with how they look, and it just gives a little bit of life to the diorama, to the display, and particularly when I put this on the railway, it'll be really good to have all of these on there as well. So yeah, so I'm just going to scatter them around. They'll give some scale to the dinosaurs. So I'm going to put them, particularly one here. I want to going underneath these, underneath the bird's wings, pterodactyl's wings, and then one over here and that. So I've scattered them around. They're not going to be all together. And I've got the one guy here who is going to be holding his skateboard, just kind of as if he's about to flip it or something like that. I think I'm going to do something pretty cool with that. So I'll get my glue in and glue them in, and I'll show you what it'll look like when they've all been stuck in place. Right, so we're going to go for shaky cam to show you off the skateboarders. So I've put a couple here, including the guy who is just flipping his skateboard up. And then just a bit further up this track, we've got the guy here skateboarding underneath the wing. And then just further around the track, we've got another guy there who's on some roller skates. And another guy here on roller skates. And finally, behind the Triceratops, we've got a dude carrying his skateboard. So there we are, those are all put in. I'm going to do some more. I'm not going to have that as the only population of humans on here. I'm going to get a gaggle of school children as well, I think, and I'll probably have those coming in, entering underneath the necks here, and I might put another couple of few people in as well. And then once that's done, then I'll do the trees, and then this will be finished. So yeah, really pleased with how this is coming out, and I think it looks excellent and really epic. Right, so I had a look through my box of people, and I don't have any more of the school kids, so I guess we'll order that in and they'll have to be added on later. But I did have a nearly empty pack of the standing spectators. Unfortunately in 187, not 176, so a little bit little, but they'll be okay. So I've got particularly like this one, which is someone looking and scratching their head. So I thought that could quite nicely go here, staring up at T-Rex. And then there's 3 more that I will also stick in around. So I'll get those stuck in shortly. I also have decided that I'm going to go for some of these trees for this. This is a park, so having trees that look like they're well coiffured or whatever is perfectly fine. They are dropping though, so I think I'm going to have to do something about that. I might need to spray some sealant on them. But I'm going to put one in here, and I'm going to put one back here, and then that's probably going to be good for my trees. So one here, but as you can see, they really are dropping badly. So yeah, I need to do something about that. And the final thing that I'm about to do, which will finish this off, which is, or not finish it off, because I want to do the letters across here. But I've got this. I've bought this as a crystal clear water effect, which is basically silicon sealant polymer. And so I'm going to use that to do the water effect. So I think the first thing I'm going to need to do is work out how I'm going to seal these, because with them dropping so badly, that really isn't very satisfactory. So I'm going to have a quick think about that. I am considering putting a couple of these style trees in as well, but we'll see about that. So I'll get these miniatures stuck on and work out how I'm going to seal these trees, and I'll bring you back when I've done that. I'm about to plant them. And when I'm about to start doing my water effects, which is going to be really cool as well. Well, that was easier than I thought. So I found that I actually have another bottle of the matte scenic sealant from Luke, which I hadn't opened. And these normally clog up immediately for me and don't work, but this one is working. So what I'm going to be able to do is use that, which makes a very odd noise, so I'll stop when I'm recording. Going to be able to use that to seal all of this stuff in place. So I'll just get that done. Very liberal soaking. And then what I'll do is I'll make use of a clip to make a tripod. And then that can sit upright and dry. And here's the other one that I did. So I'll leave them to dry. That'll have to wait overnight now. And I'll plant them. Probably not tomorrow, because tomorrow's Christmas Eve. So probably that'll be a couple of days now until I get back to this. But at least they will now be sealed and stop dropping everywhere, hopefully. I can always do another squirt. I might check them in the morning and see, and do another squirt. So while they're going, I'm going to stick the men down, little figures down. I'll get that done, and then I'll probably do the water effect now. So I'll bring it on for that in a few minutes on my time and the next clip for yours. Right, so the little figures are in. Now what I'm going to do is my water effects. So how I do that is I have in this pot here, I have some 100%, 99% alcohol, and I get myself a toothpick. And so you basically squirt it in the area you want it, like this. And then smooth it down with alcohol on a toothpick, and then add more if you need to. So I'll put what I think is going to be enough. You actually need more than you realise often. So there, that'll do that. There we are. And you can use your finger if you don't have toothpicks, but make sure you do dip your finger in the alcohol, because it stops it from sticking to your finger. And as you can see, it allows you to make a really glass clean finish. But if you have got if you have got toothpicks, then obviously it means you don't get alcohol in your finger, you don't get that stinkiness. But actually I think I'm just going to do it with my finger. I might need a toothpick to go in there underneath the dinosaur. But it's as simple as that. And the good thing with this technique is, if you want to, I mean, I'm going to do a still lake, but if you want to do like waves or whatever, it works really, really well. Oh, that's a mistake. I have knocked that. Now what I'll do actually is place that in place and hold it in with the silicone, because obviously that's not stuck very well. So I do need some more silicone. So we'll get that squirted in. Keep this going. I'll put some music on and you can watch this progress. I mean, I have to say that takes very little time. So the key really is the alcohol. If you don't use the alcohol, it will stick and you will not get a nice clear finish, because you'll get all of your oils from your fingers all over it. But with the alcohol, it acts as a good barrier, keeps your fingers nice and smooth, allows you to actually do the smoothing. So I've actually probably ended up with just a little bit too much of the silicone on this. But it's okay, that's really shiny, that gives a really nice effect. And now all I'm going to do is wait for those trees and stick them in place, and I've got to get my sign done as well for the entrance. Nearly finished. So for some reason I woke up today well before I needed to. It's always the way, isn't it, on a holiday, you wake up earlier. But I'm going to make the most of the time, and I'm going to actually get these trees stuck in. So it's going to be a little bit of a fuss because these are quite thick trunks. But basically what I'm going to do is use my bradawl to make a hole. And these trees will not be very secure until this is actually settled down onto the layout, but it'll be better than nothing at least. So use the bradawl, then use the tree itself a bit as well, and you can see that then is just going to stick in. And I did have my glue out, but I'm actually not going to glue that in just yet, because I think I may want to do a little bit of work around it, just put a little bit of bark and things that fall. They always do, no matter how much you try to keep your tree, the area between the tree clean, there's always some fall of leaves and what have you. So I'm going to do a little bit of work around it, and then I can glue it in place later. So there we are. Oh, that didn't go in yet. Let me do a little bit more opening of the hole. There you go. And that's in. So now I need to do the deadfall around the base, which I'll probably do now. And I do want to get I need to clean these off as well, the things that fell off the trees. I do want to get my letters. I've decided I'm going to put the Lost Kingdom here, or the Lost World, whatever. Oh, like upright letters. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to make use of my new Cricut machine to do that. But I need to get that working, so that's going to be a nice little thing. So that's going to have to be done before this is totally finished. But in terms of what's actually on the board, I'm pretty happy with how that looks. I still haven't decided I'm going to put the other trees on, the evergreens. I might put a couple. Maybe I should have put a couple here. So let's have a look at them now. These are much smaller trees. Actually, you know what? I'm going to dump those into the box. They are also dropping, so they're going to need to be sprayed before I put them on. But I think putting the tree there might not be a bad idea, just to give it a little bit more. And I might put another one there as well. Right, so yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spray these, going to seal a couple of these, probably going to seal quite a lot of them because they'll need to be sealed anyway for use. And then when they're dried, what I'll do is I'll put a couple more around and I'll bring you back and show you what that looks like. So yeah, really getting there. In terms of my lake, it's still a little, not quite gone off yet, so it's still a bit sticky. So I need to be a bit careful. There's a bit of dust got onto that, so I'm going to pick that off. But other than that, we're really nearly done. So yeah, I'll wrap that clip up now, and I'll bring you back when I come to the next thing. So yeah, the next thing to do is going to be to add this, oh, it's going to focus, not sure, this forest ground cover from Luke's APS, as it was, and I'll keep gaming. Really, really simple to add. I've just pulled those trees out. I'm going to put a little bit of PVA around the base of the tree, like this. Try not to fill the hole up. And then take a little pinch and scatter it on. And that just is a nice little thing that you put around the base of trees. It works really well. And then we can put the tree back in. And that looks a lot more natural. So I'll do that for the other one as well. And yeah, really I'll get into the final finishing touches here. Well, there you are. I actually have quite big plans for this in the model railway. It's not going to be happening for quite a while, maybe even a couple of years, depending on how fast things go. But yeah, I've got a really cool idea, and I'm going to integrate this part of this little diorama into that. But you'll have to wait and see. I'm not going to reveal it anyway, because I might change my mind. Anyway, thank you very much if you managed to make it this far. I really, really do appreciate it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Did this inspire you? Have you made anything similar? Does this make you want to make something similar? It'd be really cool to hear from you, and anything else you've got to say. I will read everything and do reply to them all. So yeah, don't be hesitant. Do say hello. I'll wrap up by saying, as I always do at the moment, currently it's still going on as I record this, the horrific war in Ukraine. If any of you are impacted by that, either directly or indirectly, or if you know anyone who is, then my thoughts do go out to you or them. Horrific that it's still going on. And to everyone, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.